Shalom. First and foremost, like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely as well too. And I say shalom. And this is a recent news article from MSN.com. And this was published 5 hours ago. And this is Ukrainska Pravda, if I pronounced that right. It was published by them 5 hours ago, and it reads, Lukashenko states NATO plans to invade Belarus. And keep this in mind, with the recent announcement from Moscow and the president of Vladimir Putin of Russia. They made that announcement very in the near future. They're going to announce and deploy nuclear weapon capability, have it deployed over there to Belarus. Because, Russia and Belarus, they're allies with one another. And due to the fact with the rising tensions between NATO and Russia, so keep that in mind as well too. And I believe Belarus was enlightened by the fact that they was gonna announce and display of the nuclear capability of the nuclear weapons is going to be deployed to them. To display against NATO, especially with the recent Finland and Sweden of joining NATO, and then the military presence of the NATO armies are building up between the borders of where NATO got their armies stationed at, between the borders of Russia and the NATO armies as well too. So keep in mind of those, like I just mentioned, I had added a note to that as well too. But in the meantime, continuing on with the reading, it says the self-proclaimed president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, said in a message to the Belarus people that NATO countries are prepared for an invasion of Belarus territory. It says source Lukashenko in his message to the Belarus people at a national assembly, quoted from Lukashenko, "Take my word for it, I never lied to you. They, NATO countries, are preparing to invading the territory of Belarus to destroy our country." This is according to him. And it says, details, the Belarusian dictator explained his statement by saying that today he believes NATO troops are being deployed at a accelerating pace in the eastern direction. And according to his estimate, the bloc grouping in Poland and the ballistic states alone has more than 21,000 military personnel, 250 tanks, almost 500 armored vehicles, about 150 aircraft and helicopters, and all his Armada, Salakia meant to say, and demonstratively training near the borders of Belarus and Russia, Lukashenko complained. It says, in addition, Lukashenko began to warn that the West has. In addition, Lukashenko begins to warn that the West was also forming regiments and legions to carry out a coup in the country. However, he did not give details when the time comes. I'll tell you all about it. Today is not the time to painstaking work continues. Covertly, the head of the state sums up. Okay, so the president of Linsko, the self-proclaimed president, according to the news article reading right here, as he made that statement, it was going to be a potential invasion in Belarus, because Russia and Belarus, they are military allies with one another, and plus with the recent extra 1,000 troops deployed from Russia to Belarus, and the recent announcement of the nuclear plans as well too. So that shows you that the tensions are definitely there between the NATO countries or the armies versus Belarus and Russia as well too. So that's a potential rumor of war right there. As I bring out that scripture, bring that out in Matthews 24. Now, even though this is according to reports, that's why the scripture says in the latter days, you was gonna hear wars and rumors of wars, and that's what we're hearing. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6, and it reads through the Holy Scriptures. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet by and by." Right, because the end is not yet, because you're going to hear more of these in the news, as, we cover these stories of these news articles can be a potential of a rumor of war between these nations. And I'm going to go to the next verse, Matthew 24 and 7. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." Right, nation shall rise against nation. The NATO army versus Russia and Belarus. That's a nation against nation right there. That's a clear example. I'm going to read it again, Matthew 24 and 7. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." Right, so this is a potential rumor of war right here, even though this just is a rumor of a news article, but it's a potential tensions growing, between NATO armies versus Belarus and Russia as well too.